Admiral Zethkar of the Galactic Defense Coalition stared at the holographic display with growing disbelief. The human recruits were supposed to be broken by now, crying, begging for mercy, or at the very least showing signs of psychological collapse. Instead, they were laughing. "Run the diagnostics again," he ordered, his four eyes narrowing at the tactical officer. "Already done, sir. 3 times. The simulation parameters are functioning perfectly. Temperature maintained at 47 degrees Celsius, gravity at 2.8 standard, atmospheric pressure reduced to 70%, and hostile entities programmed to maximum aggression." The Admiral's mandibles clicked in frustration. The Crucible of Vextoth had been designed as the ultimate military assessment, a virtual reality nightmare that had reduced seasoned Kralix warriors to quivering masses and sent proud Gentari commandos into catatonic states. It was meant to identify the absolute elite among coalition forces, those rare few who could maintain combat effectiveness under impossible conditions. When the humans had requested to participate in coalition military exercises, the Council had reluctantly agreed. These newcomers from a backwater planet called Earth had impressed some diplomats with their crude but effective technology, but the military brass remained skeptical. They were small, fragile creatures with laughably short lifespans and primitive single-heart circulatory systems. Surely they would provide an amusing distraction before being politely shuffled off to logistics or communications roles. The Admiral had personally designed this specific iteration of the Crucible to humble the humans quickly and definitively. He'd combined the worst elements from a dozen worlds: the crushing gravity of Mordak Prime, the searing heat of the Solarith deserts, the relentless predators of the Gaxtari death worlds, and the psychological warfare techniques of the shadow-weaving Nixlith. No species had ever completed this particular configuration. Yet somehow, impossibly, the humans were not just surviving, they were thriving. "Patch me into their communications," the Admiral demanded. The tactical officer hesitated. "Sir, Coalition regulations state that monitoring trainee communications during assessment is..." "Override it." Static crackled through the bridge speakers before resolving into distinctly human voices. "Okay. Johnson, you take point. Martinez, cover R6. Williams, how's that ankle holding up?" "Still attached, Sergeant. Though I think I left some skin on that last cliff face." Laughter echoed through the comm channel. Actual laughter. "Remember, people," came another voice, presumably the squad leader. "We're representing our entire species here. Let's show these alien bastards what humans can do. Next obstacle should be the Predator Den. Chen, you still got those improvised explosives?" 3 charges ready, Sarge. Just like we practiced in Afghanistan." "Afghanistan?" The Admiral turned to his xenobiology specialist. "What is this Afghanistan?" The specialist's tentacles writhed as it accessed the human database. "A region on their homeworld, sir. Appears to be..." "Oh my, oh dear. Sir, I'm reading about something called conflict zones and active war regions, and ancestors preserve us. They call it Tuesday." Admiral Zethkar felt his secondary stomachs churn. "Explain." "Sir, it appears that humans regularly engage in what they term warfare with each other. Not ritualized combat or territorial disputes, but actual, continuous, organized violence for resources, ideology, territory, sometimes apparently for no reason other than historical grievances. They have entire military classifications for different types of armed conflict." The human voices continued their casual banter. "Remember that time in basic training when they made us crawl through the mud for 18 hours straight? This is like that, except the mud's not trying to eat us. Speak for yourself, Rivera. That thing with the tentacles definitely tried to take a bite out of my helmet. That's what we called Tuesday back in Detroit." More laughter. The Admiral's command staff exchanged nervous glances. These creatures treated the most extreme military assessment in Coalition history like recreational activity. "Sir," the tactical officer interrupted, "the humans have reached the final chamber, the psychological warfare sector." Admiral Zethkar straightened. This would break them. The final chamber subjected participants to their deepest fears, most traumatic memories, and worst nightmares simultaneously. The few who had ever reached this point typically lasted mere minutes before requesting immediate extraction. On screen, the human squad entered a realm of shifting shadows and manifest terror. Each human was immediately surrounded by personalized horrors drawn from their own psychological profiles. Burning buildings, dying comrades, monstrous creatures, and scenes of devastating loss. The Admiral waited for the screaming to begin. Instead, he heard Sergeant Williams's voice cut through the digital hellscape. "All right, people. Looks like we've got a fear simulator. Remember your training. Fear is just adrenaline with a bad attitude. Use it. Copy that, Sarge. Johnson, your nightmare at 2 o'clock. Rivera, tag team that childhood trauma at 9 o'clock. Martinez, you're on existential dread duty." They were treating their deepest fears like tactical obstacles. "Sir," whispered the xenobiology specialist, "I'm detecting massive adrenaline spikes in all the human subjects, but their performance is actually improving. Their reaction time has decreased by 12%, accuracy is up 18%, and their coordination, by the ancestors, they're operating like a single organism." The humans systematically dismantled every horror the Crucible could manifest, supporting each other through individual nightmares and turning psychological warfare into team-building exercises. 27 minutes later, the simulation ended. The humans emerged victorious, battered but unbroken, and immediately began conducting what they called an after-action review. Admiral Zethkar stared at the display showing their final scores. Not only had they completed the Crucible, they'd shattered every previous record by a factor of 3. "Sir," the tactical officer reported quietly, "incoming message from Coalition Command. They're asking if we can design a more challenging assessment. Apparently the humans are requesting something actually difficult for tomorrow's session." The Admiral's mandibles clicked once in defeat. "Cancel tomorrow's assessment. Promote them all to special operations immediately." He paused, studying the humans as they celebrated with something they called high fives. "And send a message to the Council," he added grimly. "Recommend immediate full military integration. We don't want these creatures as enemies." On the screen below, Sergeant Williams was addressing his squad. "Good work, people. Not bad for a warm-up. Tomorrow we show them what humans can really do." The bridge fell silent except for the gentle hum of life support systems and the quiet clicking of the Admiral's nervous mandibles.